Hello, everyone. I'm Jensine Bard, and welcome to Testimony, where truth is told, lives are changed, and hope is given. Revelation 12:11 tells us that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. A testimony of your story for His glory. Unwanted, unloved, beaten and abused, a mentally ill mother, a cruel grandmother, and a great-grandmother left to care for the, quote, bastard child whose father was unknown and unnamed. Was incest the reason? One can only surmise, as my next guest did, for the reason for such hate from those that should have loved her most, but abandoned instead. Here to share more of her story in part one of my two-part conversation is legendary gospel recording artist, comedian, and star of the mega-hit syndicated TV series Hee Haw, whose role as the lovable Lulu is still garnering raves 25 plus years later with millions of fans worldwide. And now, as author of her just released This Is My Story, This Is My Song with co-writer Scott England, get ready to hear the real cornfield story from the last of the Hee Haw cast, on camera and off. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, a great joy indeed, Dr. Lulu Roman. Lulu, welcome to Testimony.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And Lulu, you are a doctor of music, which we'll talk about more in our second segment. For this segment,
Yes.
in our brief time here today, in word and song, first question. It was heart-wrenching to hear the cruel words you say your grandmother spoke over you as a child, and I quote, "You're a little piece of S-H-I-T. No, that's not right. You are a big piece of S-H-I-T. Words you say still sting today, making you feel unloved, unwanted, and unworthy. Your grandmother you called Claudine, never missing an opportunity to call you fat. Talk about the devastation of those words and how you, Lulu Roman, overcame them."
That's quite a story. It is. I was taken to the orphan's home when I was 4 years old. I remember it vividly. I do. It was in 1950, and I was just 4 years old. And I remember my great-grandmother wanted me to stay, but my grandmother had no time nor patience nor any desire to take care of a bastard child. And so I was taken to a large orphan's home in Dallas, Texas, dropped off, and I sat in a hall on a bench and stared out the window at children playing for hours. And as the darkness came, a lady came and she said, "Come with me." And I said, "Well, I'm going home with my granny." And she said, "Your grandmother is gone." And she said, "You'll be staying here." To which, of course, I burst into tears, and that promptly got my first whipping for me. And then I was taken into a room where they had beds. It had the side rails that pulled up, and you were kind of caged in there like a little animal. And they put pajamas on me and just turned the lights off and left the room, left me in there by myself. And I cried myself to sleep. And the next morning, the hell of my life began. It did. I don't remember much except there was playtime, more spankings, because all I could do was cry. I can remember thinking, all I could think was, my granny left me, my granny left me. And I didn't know how to express the feeling of being left, but I knew that my heart was so broken, all I could do was cry. And that's where the whole thing started. It is.
Yes, you were in an orphanage at age 4, and you were there for 14 years until you turned 18, and then they turn you out.
You either get 18 or you graduate, and I graduated.
Now, what did that mean for you to graduate exactly? What did that mean?
Freedom. It meant freedom. It meant I could get out there and do everything that I wanted to, and that no one would ever say, "Thou shalt not" again. I thought, "Oh, yes, thou wilt, and thou wilt as many times as thou canst."
So you got out at age 18. They gave you $50.
Yep.
No hope, no place to go,
Nope.
really. Tell us what happened next.
Well, they made sure that we had a job. The girls were all sent to the telephone company, and I think the guys were sent to the electric companies. We went to work for the telephone company, and I literally was that operator who stuck that thing in that board and said, "Operator," and got a lovely friend named Lily, and she and I have laughed over that a bit, as she was the one who kind of made it famous.
Lily Tomlin, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Lulu Roman, award-winning gospel music legend and star of the syndicated TV series Hee Haw. Yes, Lulu, please continue.
I stayed at the telephone company for about 2.5 years. What happened was I determined that no one was going to ever tell me that I couldn't do what I wanted to do again. And so my bucket list consisted of I wanted to learn how to cuss. And I got it down so well that it cost me my job. And so I found myself out in the street. Did not know what I was going to do. Did not have any idea what kind of a job I could get. I still had my friend. Her name was Peggy. And she was in the orphan's home with me and her big sister Diane. And I ultimately became best friends. And Diane has been one of my dearest friends in all my life to this day still. So we got up and went to work in the mornings. I can remember us acting like Laverne and Shirley, skipping, like we were going to go to work. And I left working at the telephone company, I did, but I didn't get the idea that you weren't supposed to talk in an off-colored manner. So I was dismissed from that job. And I had a friend that worked there that used to love to go into the Dallas nightclubs. And she would tell us all about it. And long story short, she went into Jack Ruby's nightclubs. And ultimately, I ended up working in those nightclubs. We went over one evening and were watching girls, shall we say, do their thing. And I was standing behind someone, and this was on Friday and Saturday nights. They had amateur night. And so we were standing there watching the amateurs, because these were girls that just came straight up out of the audience and just kind of started taking their clothing off. And I was shocked, and I said to my friend, "Lord have mercy, I could do better than that." And behind me, I heard a voice say, "I'll bet you $50 you can't." Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to internationally renowned Gospel Music Hall of Famer, comedian, and star of the mega-hit, history-making, and now syndicated TV series Hee Haw, whose popular cast member, Lulu Roman, is still garnering laughs and joy and music today. Her just-released autobiography, This Is My Story, This Is My Song, with co-writer Scott England, and a must-read. You can learn more about Lulu's work, ministry, and mission by visiting luluroman.com, get her book at luluromanbook.com, and catch her on tour at cornfieldfriends.com. You will be joyfully blessed, inspired, and encouraged that you did. Lulu Roman, what an absolute joy and honor to have you share just a little of your amazing yet heart-wrenching story of overcoming to become all God intended. We look forward to hearing much, much more next week. God bless you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Lulu Roman and her beloved classic, Orphan girl.
I once was a dying baby, I once was a little child, I once was a little hungered, I once was a little pained. In my mother's arms I laid, in my mother's arms I laid, in my mother's arms I laid, in my mother's arms I laid. Sweet soul, in my mother's arms I laid.
I am an orphan on God's highway, but I'll share my troubles if you go my way. I have no mother, no father, no sister, no brother. I am an orphan girl. I have had friendships, pure and golden, but ties of kinship, I have not known them. I've known no mother, no father, no sister, no brother. I am an orphan girl. And when he calls me, I will be able to meet my family at God's table. I'll meet my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. No more an orphan girl. Blessed Savior, make me willing, walk beside me till I'm with Him. Be my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. I am an orphan girl. I am an orphan girl.
Testimony is a global broadcast made possible by the generous contributions of our valued partners at Jensine Bard Ministries and you, our listening audience. Together, we are reaching souls for Christ, one testimony at a time. If you would like information on how you can support this broadcast with your tax-deductible gift, please visit us at jensinebard.com. That's one word, JENSINEBARD.com. And join the conversation at our Facebook page, Testimony with Jensine Bard. Thank you for listening, and please join us again for Testimony.